One of the most important financial decisions that we make is about our Social Security benefits. How much are we going to get? When should we take? And if we decide to stay employed and take Social Security at the same time, how is that going to work? In this video, I'll explain. The first thing that we have to understand is the formula that Social Security uses to actually calculate our monthly benefit. And secondly, we have to arrive at our full retirement age because that will determine not only how much we get, but how much of a penalty we'll get if we're still working. And then lastly, we're going to look at the exact consequences of what is called the earnings test. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the first one. Now, as we think about our Social Security benefit, we want to get the highest monthly benefit that's possible. But the question is, how is it that the Social Security office actually is going to determine what our monthly benefit will be? There's actually a formula I want to share with you just real quickly. The first thing they're going to look at is the top 35 years worth of earnings. Hopefully you worked at least 35 years, but if a person only worked 30 years, then there's going to be some zeros because they take the top 35 years, and then what they do is they index that up for inflation, what I made 25 years ago in today's dollar. So they inflate that up with an index. And what they're coming up with is a total amount of all those 35 years of earnings once they've been indexed up. And let's say that money ends up being $2 million that I've made over my lifetime at 35 years. And they're going to take that number and they're actually going to divide that by 420 months. So that would be, in this example, $4,761.90. And that number is actually called my average index monthly earnings. 35 years divided by that total amount of money right there. So let's just say that someone actually made $4 million over that 35-year period of time. It sounds like a lot of money, but it really is not in the scheme of things. And so that number would be someone that actually has an AIM of $9,523.81. And so they take this AIM number and they apply that to what are called bend points. Bend points. And there's actually 3 of those. So here's the way it works. So from our first dollar up to the first $1,115, we actually get 90% of that amount as part of our benefit. And then from $1,116 up to $6,721, we actually get 32% of that amount. Now, notice in my example, this person never got up to that amount. This person here actually went over it. So everything above that then, so that'd be $6,722 up to $13,350, we actually get then 15% of that amount. All right. And so these bend points are applied to our average monthly index, and then that number determines our full retirement age benefit, which is actually called your primary insurance amount. So in these examples, and I did this in advance, primary insurance amount for this person, they actually would get a Social Security benefit of $2,170.22 at their full retirement age. Now, they may not take at full retirement age. They may take before, they'll get less, or they may take later and they'll get more. All right. Now, this person who had that average monthly index, their amount would actually be $3,217.72 at, again, their full retirement age. So you'll notice they made double the money, almost $4,700 more on average a month, but they're actually only going to get a little over $1,000 extra in their Social Security check. All right, so that's how benefits are calculated. So the next thing we're going to look at is this all-important number here, calculating our full retirement age. Hey, if you found this video helpful and you want to see more Medicare information just like it, then go below, right below the video, and you can give us a thumbs up as well as subscribe to our channel. And every time I put a new video, which is about 2 every week, you'll be notified of that video, and others just like you who need this vital information will get it as well. Now, most of you know that we can start taking our Social Security benefits as early as age 62 and as late as age 70, all right, somewhere in between there. But what we have to calculate is our full retirement age amount, because that has everything to do with how much we're going to get, as well as the consequences if we decide to go ahead and work while we're taking Social Security. So let's look at that real quickly. So anyone born between 1943 and 1954, those birth dates, has a full retirement age of an even 66. All right. And so what happens is after 1954, the Social Security Department began to add a certain amount of months to people's full retirement age. And so anyone that's born in 1955 would have a full retirement age, notice, of 66 plus 2 months. If they're born in 1956, they added 4 months. 1957, 6 months. 1958, 8 months. 1959, 10 months, and then anyone born in 1960 thereafter is going to have a full retirement age of 67. So let's give the example of someone that's born today in 1958. Okay, I'm shooting this video. It is September the 5th of 2023, but let's suppose this person was born September the 5th, 1958. They're turning 65 today. And so the question is, what will be their full retirement age? So if they're born in 1958, we're going to have to add 8 months to 266 to come up with that number. So we know that they're actually going to turn 66, and their birth month would be 2024. So all I did was just took 66 to that, because they're always eligible for Social Security benefits our birth month. If we're born on the first day, they actually move it to the previous month. But this person born on the 5th would actually be 66 of 9/1/2024, that particular month. But are they yet full retirement age? The answer is no. We have to add 8 months to that to arrive at that full retirement age benefit. So how do we do that? Well, we start counting. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So 5/1 of 2025, that person that's born in September 5th would hit their full retirement age, which means what? They would be eligible for that primary insurance amount. Right now, if they take prior to full retirement age, all the way down to 62, they're going to take less. If they take after that and go up to age 70, then they're actually going to grow that account. So if we take before, we take less, we take later, well, we actually can grow that. So we actually lose about 0.5% a month, which is 6% a year. And if we grow it this direction, we can actually make an additional 8% a year. All right. So that's the significance of calculating our full retirement age, because at that full retirement age, that gives us that primary insurance amount, which is what? That average index monthly earnings applied to those bend points came up with that dollar amount, and that dollar amount of full retirement age is called your primary insurance amount. We take early, we take less, we take later, we get more. Now let's talk about the consequences if you decide to take your Social Security benefits and still work. Hey, if you come to a place where you know you're going to have to make some Medicare decisions pretty soon, the best way to do that is to click up here in this right-hand corner, and you'll have an opportunity to be able to book a call with one of our Medicare guides. All the guides around here I have personally trained, and they truly are professional. They'll answer your questions, and they'll show you different Medicare options to make sure that you're confident in the decision that you make. All right, so we've seen how our benefits are calculated, how our full retirement age is determined, but then lastly, I want to talk about the consequences of the earnings test. And this just simply means when someone is going to take Social Security benefits and they keep working, there could be consequences to their Social Security check based upon this earnings test. Now, as we talk about the earnings test, the earnings that are being tested are this: working wages. Working wages only. So if someone is receiving rental income, that doesn't count to the earnings test. Any investment income, any pension income, IRAs, 401ks, those kinds of things are not at all counted towards the earnings test. Just your working wages. And by the way, it's not your spouse if you're married. It would just be only yours. All right? And so let's talk about how these consequences will affect your Social Security check. And so let's go back to my example that I mentioned just a few minutes ago, and that is someone that has a date of birth today, and they were born in 1958, right? 9/5/1958, they actually turned 65 today. This is September 5th, 2023. Have they yet reached their full retirement age? And obviously they have not. Why? Because someone born in 1958 has a full retirement age of 66 plus 8 months. All right. Now, we know this person is going to turn 66 9/5 of 2024. But again, they're not yet full retirement age. We've got to add 8 months to that. All right. Now, the way it works is it's the month you're born. So we'll just say it's 9/1/2024. They're 66, 8 months. So the way we count that would be October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May will be that 8th month. So they are at their full retirement age of 5/1/2025. And at which time they would have no earnings test whatsoever. But prior to that full retirement age month, now what's going to happen, they're going to be subject to the earnings test. So let me explain how this works. So what we have is we have a low amount, we have a higher amount of an earnings test, and then we have no earnings test whatsoever. So the low amount, and again, I'm shooting this video 2023, it'll be a little bit higher next year, but the low amount this year is $21,240 that we can make in wages. And for every $2 that we would make above that, they take $1 out of our Social Security benefits. So if I'm $4,000 above, they're going to withhold $2,000 of my Social Security checks. If I'm $6,000 above, they're going to withhold $3,000 of my Social Security checks. So every 2, they take out 1. Now the higher amount this year is $56,520. Much higher, almost over double the amount, almost tripled. But now the penalty is also less. For every $3 above that, they just take $1 out of my Social Security check. But once I hit my full retirement age, in this example, May 1, 2025, now it's unlimited. I don't have an earnings test, and I can frankly make as much money as I want in wages, and there's no bearing at all on my Social Security check. All right, so let's look at the details then of this particular person's situation. So we know they could have started taking Social Security at 62, which would have been at 62, that would have been 9/1 of 2020. But they were subject to the earnings test at that time of this lower amount, right? $21,240. And they would have been subject to that lower amount all the way until they hit the year in which they turned full retirement age. So that would have been 9/1/2020 to December of 2024. They're still subject to that lower amount. But notice what happens. Then we get a higher amount once we hit the year we turn. Now, I'm not yet full retirement age, but the year I turned in this example would have been what? I would have turned 1/1 of 2025. It's the year I turned my full retirement age, all the way up until 4/30/2025. Right? So those 4 months, January, February, March, and April, I could have made that higher amount. I could have made $56,520. And it's not a prorated amount. It actually is an annual amount. You could have made a slew of money during that time. So however many months we have left, we're subject to that higher amount. But in this example, once this person hits 5/1/2025, they're 66 and 8 months. Now what happens? The earnings test goes away. All right, we're not subject to it at all. We can make as much money working and pull our full Social Security retirement benefits with no consequence whatsoever. So we know now how our benefits are calculated, how to determine your full retirement age, and if you decide to work, how much money you can make, and the penalties that will be assessed until you hit full retirement age.